Hey y'all, it's Matt Montgomery, and welcome to Art of the Alteryx Expert exam. We will have 3 parts, and this is part 1, exam format. We will discuss do's and don'ts, exam cost, spoiler, it's not free, and what resources you are and are not allowed to use. Enjoy.
Let's make sense of this.
Let's make sense.
Sense makers.
Hey guys, it's Matt. How you doing?
Hey, Matt.
I'm glad you guys are here today to join me on a topic I like talking about quite a lot, and I'm very excited to put together a series on what I think is one of the most important parts of your Alteryx development career, which is the Alteryx Expert exam. So a little bit about me, for those of you who may not know who I am. I'm Matt Montgomery. I'm an analytics engineer working in business intelligence, but then also on the IT side of things, depending on my client engagement. Something to know about me is I have every Alteryx certification. There is the amount of people that have that you can count on one hand in the world. So that includes 7 micro-credentials, 4 for desktop, which includes the expert exam. I'm one of about 50 in the world that has it. 4 on the Designer Cloud, which is their new product offering, and a couple on Alteryx servers, so standing up a server as well as implementing the server.
Wow, that's a lot. So how did
It
you,
is.
what drove you to go for all of them?
What drove me to go for all of them was I think it was going to help me in my career, but also it gave me that challenge of, can I do it? How far can I go? Can I climb up this mountain and see where I fail? See where I need to improve? Where do I have blind spots? And be able to take those opportunities and grow. And also along the way, you get to meet other people that have passed the exam, didn't pass the exam, that are trying to alter their career, as Alteryx likes to say, and it was just a personal goal of mine and something I'm, very proud to do.
Cool.
Yeah, so if I could make an observation, if anybody's going to teach the art of passing and getting these Alteryx exams behind you, you would be among the persons to teach it. Is that right?
I think that's fair to say, because not only have I passed the exam, I have failed the exam. So I have the experience of seeing both sides of it and having the mentality of what it's like to go in for your first time, but then also having an opportunity to learn from your mistakes, see that as an opportunity to grow, and then recollect yourself, take another shot at it, and pass.
Great, super useful. Okay, yeah, let's dive in.
All right, so in the content for today, we're going to cover 3 different parts. One is going to be format of the exam, so it gives you that 10,000-foot view of what the exam is like. The next is going to be some exam stats, and then those stats are going to help us inform what Alteryx sees behind the scenes. And those are going to be, I think, really exciting, because this is the first time Alteryx has ever disclosed any of these stats to anyone.
Wow.
And it's been a black box, and I was fortunate enough to partner with Alteryx to get some interesting data to share.
Great.
And then the final part is my tips and tricks, what I did to study the first couple times, and then what I need to pass.
So a question on that is kind of, once you've done all that, what is the exam good for? Because I've seen different certification exams over time. Some are more useful, some are less.
Why would somebody want
Yes.
to pass these?
So this one in particular puts you into a tier of users that is a smaller club. So for context, Alteryx has the ACE program, and there's about 50 people in that. Tableau has the Zen Master, or I'm blanking on the exact term that they're using now.
Visionary.
Visionary. So that's a group, small group like that. if you're in that category, if you pass this exam, you now get on the radar for top consulting engagements, job promotions, earning more money, getting recognized in that community as now a super user and as somebody that could be somebody that could advance their career in a way that may be a little harder to stand out. You want to go for that next job, you want to get a promotion at your current job, or you just want some bragging rights. You want to be part of a small club. Hey, I accomplished this goal.
Yeah, there's setting yourself apart. And then there's also, like you mentioned, like figuring out where am I going to fail and identifying those gaps in your own understanding and filling all of those in so that you're just better an analyst.
That's true. And so I've talked all this stuff about like outside of the exam and, you know, whether it's your career or maybe you want to be part of a cool group. The other thing too is it'll functionally open up your mind to more complex problems and solutions. And often in your career, you're going to be presented with a problem that you may not know how to do. It might be a type of data that you're not familiar with, whether it's maybe spatial or predictive, and you're just asked to do it. And I think the building blocks of this part and this exam is a lot of structural building blocks of how to attack challenging problems, how to think about difficult problems, working with data you're not familiar with, and really getting outside your comfort zone. And that's what a lot of this exam is meant to do.
Expand your edges into all of those edge cases and those complicated scenarios so that when they land on your desk, you're prepared for them.
Exactly. To get to some of the more content at hand, the audience for this exam, you have to have Alteryx Advanced. So Alteryx Advanced is a free exam. It's that second tier above Designer Core. So Designer Core is in the, I think, the high five figures in terms of people that have passed it. So maybe 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, depending on when this video is seen. Advanced is a smaller pool. So that's in the low thousands. A couple thousand people have it. Expert is about 50. So you can see the funnel of people along the way. And those exams are free. This one is $150. So there is a little bit of skin in the game to, if you want to take this, you have to maybe pony up your own dough, but for a lot of companies, they will sponsor this and they will front the money, so that's not something necessarily out of your pocket, which can really be helpful if the last thing you want to do is spend a bunch of money that, you know, you would prefer not to, and then you don't even get the result. I can understand. But at the same time, it's pretty competitively priced to some other exams. You know, Snowflake is a couple $100 to just get their base SnowPro cert. So in terms of having, I would say, kind of an elite exam, it's reasonably priced.
Yeah, seems so to me.
So the exam itself, you're given 3 hours to complete it. And you're going to be using Alteryx Designer 2023.1. So if you are going to take the exam, you might just brush up a little bit on what you can or cannot do, because sometimes there are maybe new syntax or formulas or what have you. And just like any type of software, the versioning probably won't make a difference, but on some edge cases, it just might. So just that little extra time to just make sure that you are up to date on how you do things, especially if you're on a version before or after for your day-to-day, that you can just make small adjustments.
Totally right. With that 3-hour time limit, you don't want to get caught, you know, thinking you can do something, but that formula was released in 2024.1 and you can't use it.
Correct. So in terms of how it works, it's online and proctored. So you log into a portal. There is somebody on the other side that is giving you rules of the road. They're watching your screen. They're making sure that you're not doing anything outside of the terms of service. And in a pinch, they can answer some questions, but in general, they're there just to make sure that you're following the rules of the road. And so at the core of it, the question types you're going to get are practical problems. So you're going to be asked to solve a problem, and it's not necessarily going to be true, false, or multiple choice, where you can kind of maybe sometimes guess your way to success. the way you have to approach these problems is how you build this is your answer. So you are going to get to a point where you get to a final answer, and that final answer might be a value in a drop down, or you have to type it in. But the person that's grading this is also looking at your work. So it's kind of like the way I like to think of it is when I was in school studying math and you had to write proofs, they would grade you on the structure and all the steps and your dependencies as well as your final answer. So it's not necessarily getting to the answer of 7, it's how did you get there and showing that you can demonstrate all the building blocks versus necessarily getting to the right answer or guessing a correct answer.
And this to me demonstrates the value of being in that small club that's set apart where there's only 50 people in the world, because you're really demonstrating by passing this exam that you've got your PhD in Alteryx, so to speak, and you've delivered your thesis and demonstrated that you know how to think.
Correct. And it's on a variety of topics that are independent of each other. So just because you know how to do spatial problems does not necessarily mean that you're going to know how to do in database or reporting or predictive. So it really is breadth and depth. So you have to know a lot of various topics and know them at a level that is proficient in a time window. You know, there's a lot of problems where you could be given days or weeks, and eventually you can get the answer, or you can go on a forum and post a problem and somebody can get it for you. But because of the condensed nature of the exam, you have to read the problem, study it, build it, answer it, follow all the steps, and then move on. So it really forces good mechanics and being on the spot and recognizing what you need to do quickly.
In future videos in this series, are we going to talk more about the types of problems that we'll see?
Yes. So
Okay,
this is
great.
kind of the overview of the exam itself, and then the subsequent series of this, each will cover the topics on the exam in more depth. So you do get a little behind the scenes and a little bit of, here are the questions you're going to see, or here are the topics you're going to see. Here's how I would prepare for them. Here's what I recommend you prepare for them. And then here's what Alteryx says you do to prepare for them. So you're really kind of given that opportunity to just have that supplemental content. Because as of right now, there's no video series, no content series explicitly dedicated to this topic. So if you are trying to study it and you want something maybe more visual, this is designed for giving you that little kind of interactive experience.
Great. Thanks.
So what Alteryx will allow you to do in the exam is you can Google questions. You're going to be in a VDI environment, so a virtual desktop. You can Google questions. You can also leverage a calculator, so if you need to do some quick math, you can do that. You can also leverage Alteryx's documentation. So to the point Keith had mentioned earlier about, oh, this formula is in 2024.1, but not in 2023.1. Well, you can go to the page and see what the latest is. So you're not expected to memorize all this documentation, which can be a bit overwhelming. You can go there. You can use it. You can look at it. What you can't do is you can't, let's say, do a practice problem, upload it to your profile, and then access it and download it to do the exam. Or you've got written notes about, like, here's how you do a predictive problem, or here are my steps for spatial. You cannot do any of that. And you can't go to any site that requires a login. So if you've got some content that you've saved up somewhere, or maybe some GitHub repository that's got some info, that's a no-no. So they really do want you to go into these questions, see them for the first time, or the second, or the third, or the fourth, or the fifth, and be able to recognize them on the spot, reasonably solve them in the time you're given, and if you do in a pinch need to look at documentation, Google search, you are given that. They also provide a registration guide and an exam guide that will allow you some more rules of the road about what is prohibited, what's not prohibited, and it's an exhaustive list, which the proctor will go over with you, but it is good to just have handy beforehand to just manage your expectations. And because of this exam, and Alteryx takes it very seriously, they really do want people to earn it. If you unfortunately take the exam, you want to advance your career, you want to be a thought leader, you want to advance, become an expert. If you unfortunately do not pass, they require you 2 months to wait till you take the exam again, between your first attempt and your second attempt. And then on subsequent attempts, if you do not pass, then it's 3 months. So they really don't want you to take the exam. Oh, I failed it, but I can just, in my head, I remember
I'm just
what
going
it
to
was
throw
like.
myself at it again next week.
Yeah, I could just take it the next day, or I could take it next week, and then I just kind of like memorized the format. They want to discourage that. They want enough time to pass where it's like, okay, I remember mechanically how this worked, but like the questions, it's hard to remember what I did last week, let alone 2 months. So that is another thing to note.
I love it. What I'm getting from that, honestly, is a lot of admiration for the manner in which Alteryx have set up this structure. The proctoring, the attention to detail that they have, trying to make sure that the people who have come out of the other side of this thing have really demonstrated themselves. I have a new admiration for Alteryx for the manner in which they've set this up.
Yeah, and I think that people take it seriously. I think people that have it take it seriously. They really do wear it as a badge of honor. There are a lot of certifications out there and a lot of different business intelligence or IT tools, and some of them are, you get it, you post it on LinkedIn, you kind of move on with your day, and some of them are kind of low-hanging fruit, or I needed this for my job. And then there's others that are very respected. And this is, I would just say, one of those that's in that, respected category. People that have it are proud to talk about it. They're happy to encourage other people to get it. And you will definitely get, some positive admiration from your peers and potential employer as well. Thanks very much for watching part 1 of Art of the Alteryx Expert exam. We covered that the exam price is $150. And remember, you can Google, but you can't log in to any website. Stay around for part 2, where we will go over some exclusive exam stats. And remember to never stop learning.
Let's make sense of this.
Let's make sense.